What's good, everybody? It's your boy D Nice with I2G Radio and Viva Las Raiders podcast. Back at it here with our Commanders Raiders preview for week 3. Urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at I2G Radio. 2 words, letter I, number 2, letter G, radio. We are also on YouTube, Viva Las Raiders, word Viva, word Las, like Las Vegas, and Raiders. So let's get right into it. We're going to get into the injury report that just dropped a couple hours ago for the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, and before I do forget, views expressed here are of I2G Radio. Tight end Brock Bowers, he has that PCL knee strain, bruise, whatever you want to call it. He is limited today. He did play and had, I think, 5 receptions on Monday against the Chargers. Jeremy Chin popped up on the injury report. Pectoral injury, limited. And Jackson Powers Johnson, as we had talked about last week with the concussion, he was limited today. Hoping he can play because that offensive line definitely missed him, and he is needed whether you put him at center or you put him at guard. So we'll have to yet to see what happens with that. On the Washington Commanders side, tight end John Bates, groin, did not participate. Noah Brown, wide receiver, groin/knee, did not participate. The big one here, Jaden Daniels, he had a knee sprain in the game against the Green Bay Packers. He did not participate. The coach for the Commanders did come out, Dan Quinn, and said that he will not be practicing. The earliest he would practice would be Friday. So he will not be practicing tomorrow. And it's a big if he's going to practice on Friday. So it's looking like there's possibility Marcus Mariota, the backup, former Raider, might be starting in this game. Zach Ertz, Von Miller, Lermy Tunsil, all rest days. They did not participate. Cornerback Troy Amos, shoulder was limited. Guard Brandon Coleman was limited. Jeremy McNichols, hamstring, limited. Amos and Coleman were shoulder injuries. And Colston, Yankoff, hip injury. They were all limited. So let's get right into the nuts and bolts here of the game. Give my keys to victory on offense and keys to victory on defense. On offense, first and foremost, Raiders have to establish a running game. They have to get it done. I want to see it bare minimum at least 15 to 20 carries from Ashton Jeanty. They've got to get in some semblance and get into a rhythm of a run game and not make this offense so one-dimensional like it was last week. Now, on week 1 against the Patriots, they were putting 8 in the box. They were committed to stopping the run. That opened up more passing lanes. Chargers did the exact opposite. Cover 2, shell 2 safety sets, and they were daring the Raiders. Like, we're going to take away the deep ball from you guys. They was daring them to run the ball. I'm sure the Commanders are going to do the same. Raiders have to take what the defense gives them, and they got to run the football, and they've got to run effectively, not just run just to, for shits and giggles. They've got to get out there and establish that run game with Ashton Jeanty, Zamir White. I would like to see Dylan Lobby get more carries. I wouldn't mind seeing him also on third down a little bit more. Let's see what the second-year player has. He had a couple receptions in the game against the Chargers. A little bit of elusiveness, is shifty. I think he can become, that third down receiving back. But even at the very least, give Jeanty a break, and it's a good change of pace back from Zamir White. Zamir still is not making cuts. He's almost running directly into offensive linemen, and It's even rough to kind of watch him sometimes, even on special teams, even with kickoff returns. Um, I hope he can get it together, but I would like to see, if he's getting 5 to 10 carries, split that with Lobby, or I don't know what's going on with Raheem Mostert. He's been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks. Could definitely use his veteran leadership as well as that speed. They've got those four backs that I just mentioned. You can get, I feel like you can get some continuity and get a good change of pace with all four backs, but they've got to be used. You've got to effectively use that run game. Second key to victory, I'd like to see more 12, possibly 13 personnel to help with the run game, but to get Bowers and to get Mayer more involved passing, short to intermediate passes, and even more, work it, I think, with a Jacoby Myers or a Jack Besh, those short intermediate passes, and get those guys more involved to kind of set up, play action and to set up more deep shots once you've got that short intermediate game and the run game involved. The offensive line has got to block better. I completely forgot that the Commanders picked up Von Miller in the offseason. I'm sure possibly we'll be seeing him in this game, but Daron Payne is a game wrecker, one of the top 10 best defensive linemen, in my opinion, in the game, and definitely has to be accounted for. Von Miller, Bobby Wagner. You've got Marshawn Lattimore. They also picked up Emmanuel Forbes last year. They're very balanced on defense. So I'm sure they're going to, give them some blitzes and also show some blitzes. But especially with Genty having difficulty in picking up blitzes, especially on obvious passing downs, I think the Commanders are going to try to exploit that and, get Geno kind of rushed and, panicking in the pocket, and force him to make plays down the field to where, again, they're going to be playing more too high safeties and are really kind of daring Geno to beat them with the deep ball. And especially with a young receiving core like what the Raiders currently have. But that offensive line has got to block better and be more stonewalled against the pass rush moving forward of every team, but especially with the Commanders. You cannot let Daron Payne and that defensive line completely wreck shop in this football game. It's going to be interesting to see, again, as I mentioned earlier, if Jackson Powers-Johnson is moved back to center or if he's going to be left guard or right guard. Dylan Parham had kind of a rough game here against the Patriots and against the Chargers. So, don't know, possibly Jordan Meredith gets moved to left or right guard if he doesn't play center and Jackson Powers-Johnson plays there. Do you give Caleb Rogers the go, the young guard that was drafted? Never know, but that also leads kind of to my honorable mention. I would like to see the young players that were drafted, I would like to see them get more snaps in this game. Jack Besh, especially on offense. I would like to see mix in with some 4 wide receiver sets with that 12 and 13 personnel to help and assist and kind of get that run game going, but also get that short passing game going as well with Chip Kelly. So the defensive side of the ball, the defense, I would like to see them continue to stop the run. No Austin Eckler in this game. He is out for the rest of the season. I think he has a torn Achilles. But, it's going to be imperative moving forward, and this team has showed they're looking like a top 5, top 10 unit defensively already in the few games. No team has rushed for over 75, 80 yards currently on the Raiders. So no team with 100 yards rushing. They've got to do that again moving forward against this team. Krosky Merritt more than likely will be starting for the Commanders. I'm sure they're going to run some jet sweeps, get Deebo Samuel kind of in that hybrid pseudo run game as well. They've got to be able to contain Deebo Samuel. Number two, the secondary is going to have to be, on their P's and Q's. They're going to do a lot of, disguise a lot of runs to get those passes going. You can still run the RPO with Marcus Mariota, even if Jaden Daniels does not play. So Pete Carroll said in his press conference that he would like to, in this game, they're saying their game plan and everything, they are prepped and ready for Mariota or Jaden Daniels. And that is going to have to be the case either way. But they're still going to run RPO. You've got, Cliff Kingsbury runs a very fast-paced, aggressive offense. That defense is going to have to be ready for fourth downs at any given time for the Commanders. It felt like last year, almost every time they went for it on fourth down, they got a first down, and they're going to continue to try and push that issue. So the Raiders have to be, cognizant of that, playing four downs, and continue to try and get turnovers as well. That's my third point. Create turnovers, create good field position. Can obviously see the offense is still a work in progress. That defense can help out like they did and got a forced fumble in the game against the Chargers, but the Raiders on offense are going to have to capitalize and get points out of that. And I don't mean 3 points, I mean 6 points. Daniel Carlson had 3 field goals. If he has 3 field goals or more in this game, that's fine, but they need to get some touchdowns also on these drives. I'm expecting, again, the 3 Musketeers are going to have to be very involved in this game. Malcolm Kuntz, Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson. All 3 of them were extremely quiet in the game against the Chargers. They're going to have to put things together. Laremy Tunsil is a top 10 tackle in the league. I'm not sure if he'll be going up against Crosby or against Malcolm Kuntz, but they've got to be able to create pressure, especially with Mariota in pocket. Make sure that he doesn't have any alleyways in the middle or on either side of the tackles to run and make plays. They're going to have design runs for Marcus Mariota. We had design runs for Marcus Mariota when he was a Raider, so that's not going to change. But they have got to be ready for any and everything that the Commanders are going to bring to the table, and they're gonna go for broke in this game. They're going to want to get that offense going early and often, especially if Jaden Daniels is not playing. But this is going to be a big game for the corners and the linebackers as well. Linebackers are going to have to may have to even put a spy on the quarterback. But Terry McLaurin, just got that big payday extension, and Deebo Samuel is no slouch either. So. Zach Ertz as well, the tight end position. So this is going to be an all-out defensive effort from the Raiders. As far as score prediction, on my prediction show, I did have the Raiders losing this game. The more that I'm kind of sitting back and watching things, Jaden Daniels does not play and it's Marcus Mariota, I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game by any means. My gut is telling me, I want to go Raiders 21-17 in a game like this. But they've got to reduce their turnovers. That's also a honorable mention, especially with Geno Smith. Has got to keep those turnovers down. Work the short, intermediate, and also the run game to set up the play action to then take deep shots. Just going right off the top, deep shots and throwing into double and triple coverage is not a recipe for success for the Raiders in this game or for Geno Smith. But the offense has got to match now the defense intensity. The defense seems to be ahead of the offense. The offense has got to get back to basics, get that running game going, get Ashton Genty, again, at least 20 carries. and get him more integrated and involved in the offense. If you can get 25, 30 carries for that running back room, whether it's, pitches, whether it's running between the tackles, which I know that's kind of asking a lot with this offensive line currently, but Raiders have got to get this run game going to set up everything else as far as with this offense. But again, I'm going to say 21-17. Again, folks, it's week 2. This is gonna be a process, and there's gonna be some more games like the Charger game. Hopefully, not too many more. But this team is still learning. Still learning Pete Carroll. Still learning Chip Kelly. Still learning Patrick Graham. Again, the defense is a little bit ahead of the curve, but I think that they will get it together and get back on track here, starting off the game against Washington. So, again, the site, www.illuminati2g.com. You can check this out on the site, or at I2G Radio on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, letter I, number 2, letter G, radio, as well as our YouTube channel, the Viva Las Raiders podcast. So, without further ado, again, if we have any more updates or anything that comes up, we will definitely keep you up to date. But Antonio, take us home.